In the 1970s, an Australian astronomer, along with his team, went for hunting for exploding mini black holes, theorized by Stephen Hawking, but they never found one. What they found instead was the maths for correcting record radio signal. 20 years later, that same maths became the core patent behind the Wi-Fi technology that we find in our phones, laptops, and PCs. And then Australia had to take half the global tech industry to the court in order to get paid for what they invented. Last week, the Australian Prime Minister made a major announcement on AI that no country's Prime Minister has ever done. On July 15th, Anthony Albanese delivered a speech called AI in Australia's Interests and did 3 major announcements on a single day. Let's look at them one by one. The first is that the Prime Minister announced the Office of AI that immediately came into effect in the same department of Prime Minister and his cabinet. The second is that of copyright. The Prime Minister said Australian writers, musicians, artists, and journalists must retain ownership and control of their work. No company should use Australian books, music, art, or news to build or train AI without the artist's control. Anything less is theft. And it looks like the Prime Minister is going for one of the strongest protections in copyright for Australian artists. And training AI models on their work will not be so easy anymore. The third and the most important announcement that he made was regarding data centers. He said that they would be creating new legal rules for large data centers and how much energy that they take. The key thing that he said regarding data centers is this. The Prime Minister said that the data centers would need to pay for the full share of their grid connection to electricity, and no cost should be passed on to homes or other businesses. And he said that they would need to generate as much energy as these data centers are taking out of the grid. That is, these large data centers have to be net generators and not net users of electricity. And obviously, there is a call to use renewable resources to generate electricity. Another thing that he says is that Australia is the driest and sunniest continent on this earth, and thus water supply is a really key thing for them. Thus, there will be rules for data centers to minimize their usage of water, maximize their energy efficiency, and that they would need to pay for any additional water infrastructure that they want to use. And this is something that is not going to be drafted and implemented for just one state. This is a national regulation for the entire continent, for the entire country. The rules will be drafted by the start of next year and implemented by next year. But I think this is a really good step for regulating AI data centers and protecting citizens, their copyrights, and protecting them from rising costs of electricity and water usage. This is in stark contrast to India, which is yet to have any kind of national regulation. And India was where AI data centers were announced to be built tax-free for the next 20 years till 2047. And all major US AI company CEOs had met in India for this major announcement. So I think India could learn from Australia, and not just India, but any other country can definitely learn from Australia and take these progressive steps in order to nationally regulate the building of data centers in their country and ensure that the citizens are not adversely affected by building them. And this also comes at a time when United Nations were having talks on data centers and how AI companies building data centers should transparently disclose their energy emissions, their land usage, their water usage, and so on, including their impact on environment. And Australian AI standards is the framework where these rules will be clearly stated for these data centers to follow. Regarding these announcements, there are still key unknowns that need to be uncovered and looked after, which would actually decide whether this policy is effective or not, and their actual details. So the first major unknown is that these rules would be applicable to large data centers, but it does not say how much large it would be. It does not specify the capacity, the power to draw, or any floor area or limit. So there is yet to be certainty on it. Another thing is that the Prime Minister said that this would be for the next generation of data centers. So would these rules be applicable only for data centers that are yet to be built? Or would it be applicable for the existing data centers as well? That is yet to be seen and to be uncovered, and only time will tell if it is applicable for old data centers as well. Again, this comes at a key time when US is not regulating AI at a national level, but the states in US are trying to regulate it and trying to make AI companies more accountable. But this time Australia is looking to get ahead of AI. If you want to stay ahead of AI, the latest advancements and policy decisions around the world, then please subscribe to Tech Meditator. Thanks for watching.